right, welcome back, everybody, for another episode of Dollar Bin Digging. This is the video and article that I do for comicbookinvest.com, where I talk about those books that you can still find tucked away, possibly in those cheap boxes, those dollar boxes, those discount bins, wherever you find your cheap comics. These are some things you should be on the lookout for when you're digging this week, based off of some of the recent news, announcements, rumors, things happening in the comics, and whatever else just piques my fancy that gives me some ideas to tell you guys of some books that might still be out there for cheap. Hopefully you're still enjoying this series as well as everything else here on the channel. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Like, subscribe, hit the alert button. Check out the memberships if you want to join up. Again, no pressure. Do so at your leisure. Check out the merch that we have, including this pretty awesome T-shirt that we have up on the store, and the links are in the chat down or in the video down below. And again, keep telling your friends as we're getting closer and closer to 2K every day, and we have another big giveaway coming as soon as we hit that milestone. I think we are about 60 short thereabouts, which isn't too many. I mean, in a couple of weeks, maybe we can hit that number, and we'll have another big giveaway coming out to you guys. So, like I said, keep telling your friends, do what you got to do to help us get to that little milestone and get yourself a chance to win a great prize or two. And with that, if you want to see what books I want to talk about this week based on some of this news and stuff, just hang on for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so for this week, we got a handful of stories that we can talk about, some things we have going on in the comics, maybe some of the stuff hitting the MCU. This is a very Marvel-centric list this week. It just so happens that's the news that I found the most interesting, so that's what I rolled with. And we're going to start off with Daredevil. If you guys have been reading Daredevil, I'm trying to keep up as best I can with a lot of this stuff, but I got to skim and hurry and read because making this content takes a lot of time. But if you've been reading Daredevil, the new series, in the most recent issue, issue 2, it seems like a character we might not have expected may be a pretty big bad villain for our boy Matt Murdock here. And this would happen in the recent Daredevil issue 2 or Legacy 650 because, well, I don't know, why not have two numbers? I just hope they go back to legacy numbering. Just stick with the 650. It's a lot more impressive to me than issue 2. But that all said, this issue, we get a reveal that Robert Goldman isn't all that he may have appeared to be. And this is an old friend of Matt and Foggy's from back in law school. I believe he's the prosecutor on the case when he was introduced, but we'll get to that in a second. But here we just find out that he's there almost trying to... I think they're kind of do almost like a Joker thing. Like he's trying to make him be a better hero. I don't know. It's an interesting angle, I guess, they're going to play with going forward. So we'll see where this goes. But as I kind of just alluded to a second ago, his first appearance happened in the previous volume, issue 22 from 2020, and that's where we got the first appearance of this Robert Goldman character. Really cool Iron Man, Daredevil type cover here. I dig it. It's a striking image, and yeah, inside of this, we get introduced to Robert Goldman, as he is this prosecutor, I guess, on this case that Murdock and Nelson are trying. But this book actually does okay. I thought this just would have been a regular back issue dollar fodder, but it does all right. But that doesn't mean you can't find it still. Like a lot of shops still might have this on their wall, maybe even in the back of the Daredevils. Like, oh, you got to go back a little bit, and you might still find it. Maybe it's in the half price, half off a cover, or like I said, the dollar boxes, because this is just back stock, overstock, extra books from 2 years ago. So keep an eye out for it. But this one, as I said, it does okay. It's hitting, I mean, it could sell for $4, which is basically cover. We're going to hit for like $11. Those are some recent sales, just to give you as examples. But available copies, on the other hand, are asking like $6 to $10. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows where this might go, especially if this character starts to have a much larger role in the comics going forward. And while these are some examples of just the bulk of what you can see out, there already are some higher asking prices for this one already, hitting like 15 to 20. So just be mindful of that. And while those might be high asks, the average still is in this basically double cover kind of like range. So just keep an eye out on those boxes. And if you do find one for cheap, doesn't hurt to pocket one for a rainy day. Because who knows? Like I said, if this character gets a little bit more more time in the comics to grow. So we'll see. But that's the first one I got for you. The next one, I think we hit this up on TAC yesterday as part of the news, and that is, yeah, I think so. That in Secret Invasion, Emilia Clarke's role may have been revealed. Now, I know a lot of people were speculating she could be Jessica Drew, she could be the Queen Varanki, the skull Skrull Queen. Uh, but it doesn't look like that's who it's going to be from what I gather from this and what some of the more recent rumors are. Again, pointing back to that Meet the Skrull series, which I have talked about before. And that book had a little bit of a ride. It's popped, it's gone back down, it's popped, it's gone back down. And I'm just reminding you again, I know this might be a duplicate. We might have talked about it before, but based off of this news, just keep an eye out for it still. While the variants are really, really tough for this, the regular issues, you still might be able to find these. And it's like, what is it? Few issues, but issue 1 would be the first appearance of the character that Emilia Clarke may be playing. This came out in 2019. She may be playing the Skrull Gia. I don't know if I'm saying it right, but basically the mom of this family of Skrulls that are hiding away. What are these? The Wallaces or something, or I can't remember what their last name is, but still. That's besides the point. The point is she might be playing the matriarch of this family of Skrulls that are hidden away, like sleeper style, like almost alluding to how Natasha and her family was in the Black Widow movie. It's possible. Who knows where we're going to go with this? What Secret Invasion might lead to? What the story they might actually be telling? But this is just another idea, another possibility, because that's what a lot of folks are pointing at. So again, this isn't confirmed. This isn't concrete. This is just another rumor that's out there that might cause people to go look for books. So it can't hurt for cheap. Again, for cheap. Don't go paying market prices, because the market on this, well, like I said, it's been on a little bit of a ride. It's still hitting $14, $25 for individual issues. Those are recent August 17th sales. So you can see like this news is starting to move the needle again on some of these books. But you can still see how back in July 30th, the entire run of 5 issues went for $5.50. So again, up and downs, up and downs. Don't react and pay these internet prices for things. Just keep an eye out for it. If you find it, you find it. If not, don't get FOMO. Don't lose it. Don't go throwing money at some of these asking prices, which again, right now are at $20 for this individual number 1 or $50 for the whole run. As I said, look, just a couple of weeks ago, the whole run sold for $5.50 with 3 bids at auction. 3 bids. So it wasn't a lot of activity. It wasn't a flurry of fighting for that mini, for the whole run. So don't go paying $50 for this now. Keep an eye out for it when you're out there hunting and digging. That's all I'm saying. Because there's nothing concrete. This may happen. This may not happen. Nothing has been formally announced. So again, don't overreact to things. Just mentioning it because it's a fun thing to look at for cheap. Don't go buying internet prices. Don't go overspending on whatnot or anywhere else you want to do your buying. Don't overpay. That's all I'm saying. Next up, I do like the X-Men. I am behind on all my X-Men reading. I will freely admit that. I got to catch up, but I'm loosely aware of what's going on in a lot of the books. So I am keeping up in that sense. So we know that X-Men's newest threat should be the first villain in the MCU. That's the angle that this article, I think it was on CBR, was going with, is that, hey, we should have Exodus as the X-Men's first villain, which, I mean, it's not a bad idea. But, I mean, I don't know if we need Magneto again, and we'll see who they decide to go with first. But it's an interesting angle. But Exodus is playing a part in the current X-Men runs. I think this is in Immortal X-Men. Yeah. So Immortal X-Men 5, you can see here we're spotlighting that basically Exodus is breaking, I guess, free of this Magneto being his messiah. It's like, wait a second, false messiah. Magneto wasn't the way, because Exodus is a religious character in a way, much like what's his name from X2? God Loves Man Kills. I can't think it off the top of my head. I'm sure you guys will be lighting it up in the chat and letting me know what I'm forgetting. But yeah, Brian Cox's character. I just can't think of his name for some reason. But anyway, religious character Exodus. So he is no longer worshiping Magneto as his, the mutant messiah, basically. So he might be taking the place of it himself. Like maybe, God is revealing himself in a new way. But that's kind of the angle. And he could be a big bad villain because he is a pretty tough mutant with an interesting power set. So keep an eye out for him. And his first is one you might be able to still find out there. This goes back to Fatal Attractions. I don't know if you remember that hologram covered X event from way back in the day, but X Factor 92 with the little Havoc hologram. Everybody remembers this because of Magneto pulling Wolverine's metal out. So the adamantium getting pulled out. Those are the issues people want. The X-Men, 25 and Wolverine. Yes, I know people, gravitate towards those. So they've forgotten and ignore X Factor 92, which has the first appearance of Exodus inside of it. So this is the first. I mean, we shouldn't have any, debates or arguments over it. So this is a book you should go and grab for cheap, just in case. I mean, you never know. Who knows how much, again, coverage Exodus is going to get. This could be one of those things where after, this arc is over, 1 to 2 issues, we never see him again or don't see him for a couple of years. So again, don't overreact, don't overpay for things. Just, keep an eye out for it because there are plenty of these out there. Speaking of which, online you can see they can sell as cheap as under $3, $5, or it could go up to like $16.50. And there's also things on there listing like error hologram, blue hologram. I don't know if it's so much as an error as it is just probably variation in the printing process, because I know, as Mark was explaining to me, not all the comics get printed at one spot, so we could get some variation depending on the hologram stock one printing area got over another. So I don't think we need to call everything an error or variant. It's just the hologram. I mean, yes, you want to go look for a blue one, God bless you, go ahead, but I just don't think it's a wise investment to go paying premiums for things like that, because long term I don't know if that's going to be that big of a thing. But it is what it is. You spend your money how you want. I'm just giving you my 2 cents on it. And you can see here with some of the asking prices, again, it's like at auction, who knows, that thing's at a penny right now. It could end in 3 days at a penny for all we know. $2.99, $8. It's not an expensive book. I'm not saying it should be an expensive book. This is just the first appearance that you can go probably find in a dollar bin somewhere. So just go look for it. And if you find it, go ahead, grab it. If you think it's interesting enough to you. You don't even have to save your dollar. If you think this is a dumb idea, you can save your dollar. You won't hurt my feelings. Like I said, I'm just mentioning things that I think I'm going to go look for when I go hitting those boxes, because, again, I think it's fun. And yeah, I already have this. I already have this as part of my X Factor series. So if I find any, it's just going to be extra. So with that, we're going to stick with the X family here and go on to Bishop, because, again, another article that was talking about possibilities for Bishop and Deathbird, and they have a daughter in an alternate reality. I think her name's Aaliyah Bishop, if I'm not mistaken. And they're just speculating that, hey, maybe we can get her again, because Bishop and Deathbird had a thing, but then it kind of fell apart. But hey, maybe they're, it could be renewed. Maybe their relationship could be renewed, and we do eventually get Aaliyah down the line in the MCU proper, or in the Marvel universe proper, not MCU. Well, I mean, in the MCU too. Who knows what they're going to do with the X-Men once we do get them in the MCU? But the 616 universe not of the Marvel universe, because yes, this daughter of theirs first appeared in X-Men The End, but this was like an alternate reality story. Chris Claremont, Sean Chen did the art. I think it's some pretty cool Greg Land covers on this. I think there's like 3 mini series that built out this whole thing, so it's like a whole thing. But there are plenty of these out there. But in this first one, there's Dreamers and Demons. Right off the bat, first splash page, we get introduced to their daughter here. So there's our first Aaliyah Bishop. I don't know. So I think it's kind of interesting. And like I said, you can find these things for super cheap. So I'm not, again, recommending you pay a ton of money for these things. Look, the whole 5-issue miniseries or 6-issue miniseries sold for $8. $8 or about $4 for the individual issue there as well, as an example sale. And even asking prices are still in that kind of range where it's like $2 for the regular issue online. And then the whole mini, again, is $8. Looks like from the same seller. They probably have multiple sets, because there are a lot of these out there. So again, don't overpay. I'm just saying, you find it for cheap, there's worse things you could buy. But who knows if we'll ever get their daughter in the proper Marvel universe. It may not matter. It may not ever happen. It's just one of those fun little things that you can go look at. Because again, in the current run, I think it's Marauders, they are interacting once again, like Bishop's out there. They're in space, mixing it up with the Shi'ar. So who knows? Granted, in that storyline, Deathbird seems to be looking out for her niece. So that's another character we might see more of her profile raised. Lilandra's and Charles Xavier's daughter is the character. I can't remember how to pronounce her name. It's like it begins with an X. It's tough but Mr. and Mrs. X #3 is the first appearance of Charles Xavier's and Lilandra's daughter. So this is a book that people have been grabbing for a while now. I don't know why she doesn't have that big a profile yet, but people have been grabbing them. So here we can see this is kind of telling the backstory of them getting together, her parents getting together, and we get introduced to Xandra. That's it. All right, so there it is. I don't have to remember it. It's on the page. So Xandra is their daughter. And again, everybody's looking for this Mr. and Mrs. X #3. There's also a high ratio incentive variant. It's kind of tough to find. It's pretty cool. But this regular issue for a while now has, look, I mean, almost $20, $25 for a set of issues 2 and 3, which we will get to in a moment. Asking prices also, $13 to $25. I mean, this has been, $10 to $25 for a while now. I don't know who's going to be paying the high of the $25, but those are the asking prices. That's where this thing has been for a little bit. So if you find one, you still might be able to make a couple of bucks, and we'll see, because we do get that big reveal of who she is. But technically, the reason why we got to go back to issue 2 is technically she showed up at the end of issue 2, even if we didn't know exactly who she was yet. And I know that sounds weird, but at the end of issue 2, this is Mr. and Mrs. X #2. The being that looks like a younger rogue that's asking for help is her. She just changes form, and we see her become Xandra that we all expect with the Shi'ar, with the whole the headdress and all that stuff in issue 3. But she appeared here in issue 2. That's her. That's her character, and then she just takes on a different form in issue 3. But technically, this is her first, if we want to get technical about it. But be that as it may, I'm not saying this should be worth more or anything like that. I'm not saying everybody has to go out and run and get this book because this is really her first appearance or true first. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is this is a book that maybe you can find at a dollar bin or a cheap bin that you might be interested in and might make you a couple of bucks down the line. Who knows? But this one is usually left behind because everybody wants issue 3. So issue 2, apart from the $25 set that sold of issue 2 and 3, you can see it's like cover price. It's like $5 or less, even online. Recent sales, asking prices, again, same kind of range. It's like cover price, $4 or $5. But there are copies out there. I've seen this one in dollar bins because I've seen the Mr. and Mrs. X run in dollar bins. I've even picked up a couple of issue 3s and left everything else behind because, apart from my own personal run, why was I going to buy extras of everything? Well, there's no point to it. But those issue 2s are probably out there in those dollar bins. That said, I think I got one more, and yes, we are still doing Marvel because, like I said, that's the new interesting news for me this week was mostly Marvel. There wasn't a lot going on the DC side of things that I felt like talking about. So, maybe next week. Maybe next week. Actually, no. Next week, I'm actually going to be skipping Dollar Bin Digging on the site on comicbookinvest.com. I'm going to be swapping articles with Jack Kornblatt, and I will be doing long shots, locks and long shots, and he's going to be writing Dollar Bin Digging in my stead. So I'm not going to be filming a video for Dollar Bin Digging next week, but I'm also on vacation, so I'm going to take a little break. So you got to wait 2 weeks for Dollar Bin Digging from me. But that all said, let's go on to our final one. Our final story here covering Captain America. This is looking ahead to, I think, November, FOC type stuff. Not FOC, but pre-order for November books. And it looks like we're getting Nomad back in Captain America, one of the Captain America books, because we apparently have multiple Captain America books running right now. I'm not buying the Captain America books. That's not something I'm collecting, so I'm not up to to scratch on the story that's going on here. But apparently, if the previews are to be believed, in Captain America Symbol of Truth, I think number 7, when this comes out, Nomad will be returning. But they don't know which Nomad it's going to be, because we did have Ricky Barnes as Nomad. We had the OG original, what's his name? Jack. Can't think of his name. Jack something. Not Jack Burton. I can't get Jack Burton out of my head. But anyway, that original Nomad character first appeared here all the way back in, well, I mean, technically he appeared in was like Young Allies or Young Men, some weird Golden Age book. Not weird, but an old Golden Age book that we're not going to find. So scratch that one off. You're not going to find that in a dollar bin, so we're leaving that one out. But I guess the reintroduction of the character uh, of Jack, who actually was Bucky, appears here in the end of Captain America and the Falcon issue 153. Here we see him as old school Bucky. That is, I think it was one of the little backstories or a little extra story kind of at the back of the title. Anyway, that was in issue 153, which, even though this is an older book for most collections, there are old Captain America books still tucked away in a lot of those discount bins and cheap boxes because apart from the keys that people want to go search for with the USA Patriot and all that stuff, or USA, not Patriot, US Agent, and all those getting pulled out, there's still a lot of Cap that's just out there because and Flag Smasher was another one everybody was going back for. It's like as soon as a character hits, then people go look for it. Otherwise, this is filler. There's a lot of Captain America filler out there, and just as an example, you can see some of the pricing can be filler pricing at $2.25, even online, or as high as $30. Because if you want to get a higher grade one, people like to complete their runs with higher grades. They might pay a bit more, but there are plenty of cheap copies, as you can even see online for $2 that it can be found. So it can possibly be out there in those cheap boxes at your shops, your stores, your half-price books, wherever you're buying your cheap stuff, Goodwills, I don't know, flea markets, yard sales. It could be out there. So just be mindful of it. And then the asking prices, it's like 10 to $20. Again, higher, lower, depending on grade. This is just kind of the broad range, broad strokes of it. Most of the prices in that $10 to $20 range for this book. And that was, go ahead, still blanking on his name, Jack, not, I keep wanting to say not Murdoch. Is it Murdoch? No, Jack Burton. Anyway, I can't get Jack Burton out of my head. But that all said, let's move on to another book for him. And this is when he comes through as Nomad, reintroduced as Nomad in Captain America 282. So 100 plus issues later, we get the character back as Nomad, introduced as Nomad. Yes, this is not the look we know today for Nomad, but this was Nomad with the yellow cape and everything. And this one, again, it heated up for a little while, but it's still probably out there. There's plenty of these out there. Look, $3.50, $10 is what it's kind of selling for right now. And the asking prices are in that $8 to $20 kind of range. So keep an eye out for it. I know I've come across this one digging through as well. So doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt to look out for it. And while you're looking out for it, and we're talking about Nomad, since Nomad's coming back, let's just talk about the 90s series. And the first 90s one. I'm not going to do both because then we'll be here all night. But the first 90s series, this was the 4-issue mini. This is Nomad, where he's got the rockin' ponytail. He's got the big Bret Hart sunglasses. Yeah. So there he is. And Captain America shows up. You could still find these. And then there's the one where he's got the trench coat and the long hair, the long, luxurious hair. And he looks like more like Lorenzo Lamas in, I can't think of the name of that show. Renegade. Anyway, that's the next volume that ran for like 20 some odd issues that came after this 4-issue mini. But let's hit up the 4-issue mini first. And again, this is a cheap book. Even now, it's like $5. This thing is sold for. Granted, I'm surprised one even sold for $5. Like, who's buying Nomad these days? And asking prices right now, you can see there are random individual issues, but a lot of times this is in lots. So like that whole 4-issue mini is only $11 with free shipping, or $8 for, it looks like, issues 1 and 2 for whatever reason. So there's cheap options out there. Lots are a good way to buy some of this cheap stuff if you want to go shopping online, obviously. But I'm just telling you, this is just fun stuff to go scavenger hunt, dig through those boxes when you're flipping through the cheap dollar bins and whatnot, and maybe find just some fun books. Because again, not any of this is going to mean anything. Who cares so much that he's going to show up in issue 7 of Captain America in November? Like, does that mean a lot? I don't know yet. We don't know where the story's going to go, but let's not overreact to things. Again, this is just for fun. That's why I like dollar bin digging, because this is not you investing a lot of your money. So if these things don't pan out, it's not like you lost a lot. This is a fun way to play, in the speculation game, I guess. So hopefully you enjoy that, and hopefully you're still enjoying this series for what it is. I've been doing this for a couple of years now. I mean, this is issue or episode or installment 206. So I've been doing this a while. So 206 weeks plus, because there were a few weeks where I did different articles instead. So it's been a while. been doing this a few years, as I said. So hopefully you're still enjoying it, and hopefully you're still enjoying the content here on the channel. Let me know again in the comments what you think, and doing all the likes and subscribes, and make sure you're telling friends to get them to subscribe so we can get to 2K sooner rather than later. And once again, as a reminder, I'm going to take next Thursday off from doing dollar bin digging, as Jack will be doing the article on comicbookinvest.com, and I will be doing locks and long shots in his stead, doing a little Star Wars focus for that, since, you know, I'm a Star Wars guy, and I don't think Jack has done Star Wars themed one yet. So I figured, you know what, why not do that? And so check it out on the site next week if you want to see that. I don't think I'm going to film anything for it, but hey, who knows? But that all said, I will still have as much as I can of the regular programming for you guys next week while I'm taking a little vacation. Still have the hidden gems and chasing ghosts. I'll see if I can show up on TAC and on the Star Wars shows if I have a good connection where I'll be, but we'll see. And that all said, hopefully you're still enjoying this stuff. Thank you all for all the support, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon with some more content. All right, later.